Let's continue with handout directions. Things to do: open model.cpp and locate upload bitmap texture member function. So it contains some directions for us to follow to add the code to handle text image. So the file is named model.cpp. We're going to go back to our labs, right? And lab number 9, source model.cpp. Okay, so this is the file, and we're going to find upload bitmap texture. I'm just copying it from here and pressing Ctrl F and just paste this in. Alright, so these are the direction that we need to follow to complete this set of changes. And to get this done, we're going to jump back to our handout, which has texture example on the client side. So this would be number 7, texture example. So this code, I'm just going to adjust this. And so we need to begin with generating a texture ID. So this is this part of the code right here. Just copy and paste that. Okay. Next, bind texture, and it's the next line right here. Okay. Then load the bitmap into the GPU using GLText image 2D, and I'm noticing that our variables for width and height are named width and height, not BMP width and height. So I'm just going to make the adjustment to these names here. So I'll show you what I'm typing here. Okay, so this is texture 2D 0, GLRGB with height 0, GLBGR, GL unsigned byte, and bitmap data, right? So that's bitmap data right here. Okay, so this is GL texture image 2D number 3. Next part, set texture preferences for magnification, magnification, and repeating our texture when wrapping it. So of course it's these set of calls. I'm just going to copy and paste these over here. And I am noticing that we're using here mirrored repeat. I'm just going to make it a simple repeat, so it's easier to debug in case if we have any issues with this. Alright, so I'm just going to save this. And this next line shows you how easy it is to generate bitmaps, those reduced versions of our texture image. So hardware takes care of the rest. It's just one single call. It's very nice, and you just pass the object memory buffer ID as a parameter. Finally, in this part, we need to get the ID of the texture sampler uniform in our fragment shader. So that's of course is this call right here, texture ID. I think that our ID is called texture. Let's take a look at the header file for the model. Okay, so this is model.h. Let's verify this. Let's see this side by side. Alright, so this is right here, the handle for the variable texture in the fragment shader. So we query the compiled shader already. What is the uniform location, the handle ID for this unique identifier? And this is just an unsigned integer, which we will later use to tell the fragment shader, specifically this sampler, texture sampler, what is the texture unit number that it should be connecting to start sampling the texels, the colors from our texture object. Okay, so these are all the changes that I made for this part right here in this section of our laboratory. which is part number 1 right here. So we're just about to start working on the rest of the member functions of our model class.